But you know what, folks? These things happen. And welcome one, welcome all. We're doing a real quick 28-minute stream while Lorena's getting set up for her 500 sub celebration stream. If you don't know Lorena Creole, she's a very nice person. You can feel free to check out her channel if you want to. I'll probably put the thing in the doobly-doo below. But today, I am joined by the great Shellback TJC. Say hi to the folks, Shellback.
Hail.
All right, everybody. But today we're just going to do a quick little thing because I said I was going to try to organize things with other people and I didn't follow up on that. So I just figured we'd do a real quick thing and we'd see who maybe wanted to come and join in. Oh, I should probably actually post the thingy in the chat because basically if somebody is looking up this topic, perhaps they're interested. I see you, Tommy, there. I see you, Jelly Duck. Hail, friends. Welcome to the chat. And feel free to pop on if you would like because the current topic for the day is it seems like politics is in everything. And since politics is in everything, everyone seems to be kind of going a wee bit nutty bananas. Shellback, would you say that's accurate?
A tad.
Okay. Tommy, welcome. Do you think folks are going kind of nutty bananas over politics? Is that your final answer?
I would say that he would say a tad as well. Yes, Tommy?
No, I would say that people are actually out of their goddamn minds. If you want to be honest, I mean,
well, I'm trying to be conservative.
You know what? The guinea pig collective isn't conservative, though. That's the problem. You can't speak for us. We run around on the floors and we bite people's toes off because we don't agree with them. So this is what we do. No, seriously, though, memes. I mean, there's actually such ridiculous now in some of the people's like perceptions, and it's not just the left. I've seen it on the right as well because people are just so quick to be offended by everything just because so much of the entertainment industry and politics has just been so downtrodden on everybody that they refuse to see anything good when it's right in front of their face, and they feel like they got to go on the attack even when it's not warranted.
Well, it's always been said the great defense is a good offense and stuff. So sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. No, it's just, to me, it's just a bit ridiculous. I mean, because when you start attacking things that don't need to be attacked, you're just creating this problem where it's a never-ending cycle of the people are saying, well, see what they're like, see what they're like. I mean, people that, that started off in the Fandom Menace and stuff like that, they started off with these noble ideas that some of them kind of fell to the wayside. And they became the very same thing that they despise, or at least they claim to despise. There are some people like that, but there's still enough good people in a lot of these different groups that I would have their back in a heartbeat anytime. But I've actually never claimed Fandom Menace as my hashtag, not once. I always claimed the guinea pig menace. So.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I'm kind of asked, and it's like I've asked a number of different people. I'm like, all right, well, what is the Fandom Menace? What does the Fandom Menace stand for? Is it just to kind of like bash the current era of Star Wars? I mean, like I'm not really a fan of that, but it's like I like a whole lot of folks that are within the greater Fandom Menace. Some may say the greater fandom collective, if you would, because it's like I love talking all this different nerdy stuff and everything. I love video games and stuff. The sad thing, whether I like to admit it or not, it's like maybe it's not that sad, but I think the longest identified tag I may have actually had, or identity, might be gamer, or maybe a scaly.
Well, the one particular Star Wars movie, might have kicked off the hashtag, of the Fandom Menace, but I mean, it's a
good moniker.
TFM people aren't just about Star Wars. They're about all of it, and just the BS that people are trying to put into our entertainment. It's not it. Star Wars might have kicked it off, but that's not all it is.
Okay.
Well, I think, quite honestly, I'm so sorry, memes.
No. Go ahead. I realize you got a little lag.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I don't know how to correct that. I've actually tried to correct it a few times, and this mic just doesn't seem to always work the way it should. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but that's just what it is. But I think that there was a lot of people that were already fed up way before Star Wars. I mean, they were just tired of seeing some of this trash entertainment. I myself have been huge, sick and tired of seeing all these stupid reboots and remakes that are just unneeded. So many of them. And you know what? I think that this stuff with Star Wars just gave all those people just an outlet, for their rage. That they finally said, okay, well, this is enough, and we're going to come out. And then all the people that were Star Trek fans and all the people that were gamers that were tired of seeing some of their favorite games being mishandled, they all started coming out of the woodworks and voicing their opinions. It just took that one spark to light it off. And unfortunately, for most of it, it seems to be always centered around Star Wars, but that really isn't the case. That's just, I guess you would say that's just the catalyst for getting it going.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like TLJ was just the straw, it was just the straw that broke the camel's back,
Right. And welcome to the Austin Air. And before I let you go off, Austin, I just kind of want to respond to Tommy just one bit. Now, again, that actually makes a lot of sense because, let's face it, a lot of folks, if they're not really a big fan of what's been going on, and this, unfortunately, is probably one of the reasons why I've adapted to it's like, all right, anytime I go to see a new movie, I assume it's going to suck. Because if it sucks, it's like, oh, okay, I lost myself, hopefully, for like an hour or two or something. But if the movie's decent, I'm like, oh, well, that was pretty good. And if the movie's actually good, I'm like, that was freaking amazing. So, that might actually be kind of telling, because that's been my adaptive thing that I've used over the years to deal with, like, a lot of movies that I'm just like, that really wasn't all that good.
Those of us who have been in the military kind of get that mindset, too. It's like, I've learned the saying, expect the worst, hope for the best, so...
Well, that's the thing. It helps prepare you, so if you happen to get let down, it's not quite as jarred up and stuff. But Austinator, what are your thoughts on the current topic? Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having. Thank you. So you guys are talking about the Fandom Menace, if I'm not mistaken, right?
And full disclosure, I'm technically not Fandom Menace. I believe I'm classified as Fandom Menace adjacent.
So when you talk about the Fandom Menace, I always, relate that to Star Wars, because Fandom Menace equals Phantom Menace, or I guess you could say the people, the rebellion, some people might call it. I could understand why the Phantom Menace is the way it is, because with, the newer movies especially, people don't like them. And I'm not necessarily a fan of all of them, but my thing is with, like, the newer movies, I like, because whenever I go into them, I usually give it a chance. I give it a fighting chance. So, like, let's take a movie like, I don't know, Rise of Skywalker, for example. I gave it a fighting chance because I was like, okay, maybe this movie, can fix whatever The Last Jedi did because of all the damage it caused, but instead it created more problems. And it's not necessarily the movie's it is the movie's fault.
It was the Rise of Palpatine was 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
I'll be straight up. I do like Darth Sidious type stuff, but I'm like, was that your attempt to save the movie? I'm like, well, couldn't you have just had, like, I don't know, like a Super Snoke or something like that, or just have Snoke? It's like, that was my clone playing like Majin Buu, absorbing more energy so I can reveal my true form, or like some like dark twisted Sith thing like that. Because like my feeling is, and again, like as soon as they kind of got away from like the extended universe, I'm like, dude, there was so much freaking potential there. It's like, why didn't you just kind of use this? It's like, you got a whole bunch of different Jedi you can focus on. There's a whole lot of great tales. It seems to make a lot of heroes out of different people. You can incorporate your own characters and everything. But that's the thing. But now, to kind of bring it around to back to politics, hail, Jelly Duck, welcome. I'm kind of curious on your thoughts. But as far as this stuff goes, like, there's disagreement within the communities, and it's kind of like, has been laid out as kind of like an us versus them. But what happens when it becomes like us versus us within different communities? Because this is the same thing I've more or less seen within pretty much any community I've been part of, at least as far as I've known on the internet or probably even in real life. It's like something happens, somebody says something or does something, it goes beyond the pale, and then all of a sudden you end up having a factoring. Sometimes it's a very small factoring, sometimes it's a very large factoring. So what do you say, Jelly Duck? Are you familiar with the Fandom Menace? Have you been following a lot of the Star Wars things or more media?
I don't know. I actually don't watch a new modern of Star Wars.
Okay.
The way I prefer it's prefer old Star Wars. There's include I don't know. I don't remember what
More of
the
the
name.
originals.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I know, but not. I'm not not a fan of from a new modern. It's just my thought.
Okay. Well, how about this? I remember it came up a little bit on your stream the other day, Jelly. Like, how about just politics that seem to be getting into a little bit of everything nowadays? Like, just what are your basic thoughts on that, and then we'll go back to the rest of the panel.
Oh, what?
What are your thoughts about like politics and a lot of the hubbub going on?
Oh no, it's just talk about the fandoms, but it's okay if you have a talk about politics, but I'm not.
Oh,
But
okay, no,
yeah,
that was the portion of the stream. I just love you, Jelly Duck, so I wanted to have you feel included.
yeah.
Well,
Have a good day, guys.
All right,
all
peace
right.
out, brother.
Bye.
All right, I'll toss it back to the panel. Go on.
You were calling him Jelly Duck, but it said Jam Flamingo.
Well,
I'm confused. Is it jelly or jam, or is it duck or a flamingo?
well, with all due respect,
what's-
Shellback, and not doxing yourself, is Shellback TJC your real name?
Well, those are my real initials.
Oh, well, without doxing you, I must admit that at least my legal name in these United States is not necessarily the memes of destruction. I'm but a mere avatar. My apologies. I'm just saying, folks.
The problem is,
Yeah, I was
the
trying
problem
to
is
make a
you're getting
joke
that
there,
echo.
man.
you're getting that echo inside your shell there, Shellback. That's the problem. You're not really hearing what he's saying.
Yeah, no, I was
Careful, Tommy can get into that shell.
I was trying to make a joke on the difference in the guy's name and what he was calling him, but that's okay. Memes killed the joke, so yeah. Thank you. Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
killing. Yeah.
I'm good at ruining everything. It's the one thing I consistently am good at. So, politics, everything else. What's happening? Further thoughts? Let's go down to Austin and we'll go over to Tommy.
Well, like you said, politics are, I guess, a growing, thing. And politics affects a lot of things as well. And if it, with the Fandom Menace, if politics were in the Fandom Menace, like let's just take the Star Wars, I don't know, just take whatever fandom you want. And if politics were involved, then it's like adding fire to an explosion. There's not going to be a good outcome. Because then it creates more problems.
We're adding more pressure, more kind of like drama on something that's a situation, and now we've added an additional layer that's, it's like throwing gas on the fire, man.
Yeah.
All right. Tommy, you got a follow-up to that?
Well, I think that the problem with politics, when you're talking about like the Fandom Menace or any other type of group for that matter, it's always going to be there to a small degree. Now, it's just a matter of how much somebody actually infuses that into their stances, which is a lot of what you're actually seeing in a lot of these splinter groups. Now, when you're talking earlier about, like, you were just talking about Star Wars, and there were so many things that they could have did with the EU. I actually thought that's where they were going with the TFA. I really thought that they were going with the Jaina and Jason type story. And by the end of that movie, I was so disgusted that that's what it wasn't. And it was just something that didn't make sense to me, that I actually left the theater disgusted over that. Once again, I don't really blame politics on something like that, but a lot of people did look at it as a political thing. And, I just didn't see it. I thought it was just crappy writing, but I could see where a lot of people actually take that stance, because so much of this garbage that's been going on, like all the stuff that went on in Seattle, like all that stuff, that was all like leftist extremists. And I could see why people are going to say, like, everything that comes down the pipe is definitely coming from that direction. Unfortunately, when you put yourself in that situation, are you really making it, are you really making that big of a claim by just saying it's all the left? Because there's just as many people on the right that actually, they cause some of these problems too. And everybody wants to just ignore that and brush it under the rug, so to speak.
We don't want to criticize our quote unquote own.
Well, I'm willing to criticize everybody. I've actually never voted in my life just because I don't trust either party. I never have, and probably never will.
Well, it's very sad that that's the point we're at. I know Brett Weinstein. Quick shout out to to Professor Weinstein, he has the Articles of Unity, which is trying to get kind of somebody moderate right, moderate left, and have them kind of do the Harry Johnson, Bill Weld thing. It's like, we're going to govern basically as a team. It's like, well, that seems very kind of real. And then Gary Johnson had his "What is Aleppo" moment, which, in retrospect, actually had a lot of meaning to it, whether or not he intended that. But Shellback, let's follow up on your thoughts on basically, I don't know, just folks just kind of like going nuts on each other, left, right, up, down.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a proven fact, like statistically or whatever you want to say, that the older you get, the more conservative you get, and I don't claim any particular political party, but I would definitely call myself conservative on a lot of things. Other things, not so much. Like, even though I was brought up, in a Christian household, I could give two shits who you want to sleep with. Okay. That's between you, them, and God, or whatever deity you may believe in. But my thing is, Tommy said that, there's, people on both sides, yada yada, but to me, like, the only people that seem to have any sense whatsoever are the ones on the quote unquote right, or of a conservative nature, because it's the quote unquote liberals that are out there burning down the cities and freaking getting into scuffles, or shooting somebody because you say you support the man that's currently in the White House, or or even if you say anything else that they don't like, so.
Well, that's the thing, and it seems like kind of a sad thing. And I'm actually going to invoke Professor Peterson, who I done a quick little live stream video on earlier about, and basically he said, at least he expressed this, that basically historically we know when the right goes too far. It's like, all right, you see like the Fourth Reich rising up and everything. You get folks going to concentration camps and literally being exterminated. Yeah, that's too frickin' far. No, screw that fascism. But now on the other side, and this is kind of why I consider myself more of a man of the left, is because I think a lot of these folks on the left, they believe they're doing the right thing. Like, I agree with so much of like the ethos, like the ethic, like why they're trying to do it, the pathos, the passion that they have. It's just the logos, the way by which things seem to be getting unfolded as far as policy and actions. That's something where I'm like, dude, like, I think there's a much better path. I think there's a much better path that we can be inclusive of more Americans as well, and likely even have a better end as well. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just more of a utopianist. Maybe I've been sniffing too many of my own farts, but I don't know.
I think we are, or were. It's just that the people right now, the people out there that call themselves liberal, they're the ones that are wanting separate spaces, safe spaces for this group, that group, or the other group. It's the quote unquote lefties that are pushing for all this segregationist freaking Jim Crow era type of shit. It's
Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's not the people on the right, it's not the conservatives, it's the quote unquote lefties and liberals that are pushing for all this crap.
Is
You
the
know?
Fandom Menace a safe space?
No. No,
Is
it's
it?
not. No, it's not. Because we there's definitely been occurrences of, you know, people that consider themselves TFM, that, you know, one person has definitely different view than the other, you
Well,
know?
it's okay to disagree, but you want folks to be comfortable voicing opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that a safe space?
Um, well, when I'm talking about safe spaces, I'm talking about uh like say on pretty much any college campus in this country that uh if if somebody's out there saying something that you don't like, you can go to a spot where, the only people that are allowed in that spot with you are the people that agree with you.
But isn't that where some of the tension within the community is coming from right now? Because people have some major disagreements.
Well, I mean, even in your, own family, brothers and sisters don't always agree with each other, you know. And um I mean, there's definitely, a few people, that consider themselves TFM that if I would have met them any other way, um, we probably wouldn't be hanging out and being friends because their opinions and political beliefs are the total exact opposite of mine, or if not totally opposite, at least some difference. So,
No, that's a very. I thank you for that observation, Shelby, because you actually put into words there what I think a lot of people kind of know. It kind of depends on how you happen across people, and this is the big thing I've kind of been trying to drive home very poorly for the past couple of years. It's like a lot of these folks that were maybe arguing on the YouTubes, on the Twitters, on Facebook, or whatever it might be. I feel like had we met each other at like conventions or something like that, in line to like a new release of a good movie or something like that, we probably have much different takes rather than just coming across people we don't know right off the bat and having maybe not a great experience with them because that's going to kind of
mhm.
poison the well. So it's just something I'm trying to point out. But we're coming
Well,
up
hey,
on
me.
about. Go on. Yep.
I wanted to add on to that. So, I mean, I think
Oh.
part of the problem also arises from the fact that you get these splintering with all these, with all the different groups, and it doesn't matter if it's politics, it doesn't matter if it's the Fandom Menace, Comicsgate, it doesn't matter. You get these splinterings of the groups where you get this tribal or gang mentality. And then you wind up getting one gang against the other, and that's how a lot of this stuff kicks off, and it gets ugly. And I think a lot of that, with what Shellback is talking with some of the extremists on the left hand side, there's so many people that are left leaning that just feel like they've got to follow everybody else because that's what they're doing, and they're going to be ostracized if they don't follow along and do exactly what they're doing, even if they don't agree with it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have in society today is that everybody feels that they have to follow the pack, or they're wrong, or they've got the wrong thing. They're an ism, they're an ist, they're a phobe, and blah blah blah, and yada yada yada. So,
Well, and that's the thing, and that's another reason why I tend to consider myself a man of the left, is that I think people should be able to freely and comfortably express their opinions and stuff like that. But a lot of it just comes down to how you're coming at it from. Whereas if you just sought somebody out to have like a conversation, versus all of a sudden, oh, we get into a beef on the internet now, so we just need to make an entire series of drama movie videos going after each other once in a while. I remember I had that with a gentleman named Mr. Plague that seemed to hijack my good buddy's MC's channel for a while. I thought he was better secure than that, but it was an interesting little go back and forth. I had fun with it. But well, aside from perhaps mystery pseudo villains and stuff that were created on the internet, no, folks don't take kindly to that. Austinator, would you like to close out some thoughts? We're gonna wrap up here in just a couple minutes.
You know what? I'm gonna just close out by saying this. the Fandom Menace, regardless, it's really hard to like talk about stuff in the Fandom Menace without, upsetting someone. Like regardless of whatever fandom you're in, because if you say something wrong, like, because I know I'm taking this from a comment, but it's also what I think is that, regardless of what you say, you're gonna have people that are going to say, there's people are going to attack you no matter what. And especially with politics as well, because again, people with their parties and separate parties, it's more, if you don't like, my thing is, if you just don't like, what people are saying, or if you just don't care, or if you just don't believe what they're saying or spewing, then just don't listen to it and walk away instead of creating more problems.
Because that's the thing. What might turn into, like, maybe just was a small slight or something, you can then escalate, and on the internet with broadband technology makes that very easy. No, that's a great point, man. I appreciate it. But yes, Lorena's 500 sub celebration stream is coming up. I just want to do a real quick thing. Dude, thank you all for joining me here as well as in the chat, man. Dude, I'm learning a lot, but let's go around the horn real quick. Shellback, let the good folks know where they can find you.
On here and on Twitter, under Shellback TJC. I am one of those people. As far as on Twitter, if you go to my Twitter, you will see both the hashtags of the Fandom Menace and the Fandom Collective. I consider myself a part of both, but I have my most recent thing is I did about a 5-minute video reviewing the first chapter of Stephen Walton's book, The Fandom Menace Volume 1, A Fandom Betrayed. So that'd be cool if you check that out. It's a little bit on the humorous side, if I do say so myself. So.
All right, let's go down to the Ostinator. Ostinator, where can the good folks find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at the Ostinator17. You guys can find me on Discord at the Ostinator, and I have a YouTube channel also known as the Ostinator, where I do 3 streams per week. I'm trying to reach my goal of 60 subscribers, so if you guys have not checked out the channel yet, I do live discussions. I sometimes read fan fiction. I do all of that, so go check that out.
Cool, thank you, sir. And Tommy, where can the good folks find you?
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective. You can actually find me at the same thing. Now, if you're actually looking for me on Twitter, it's going to be under Ratty Racketson. Now, what I do on my channels, I do a lot of toy discussions, movie discussions, and I have a weekly live stream where we talk about retro franchises from years past every Monday at 9 o'clock. So if you feel free and want to stop by, I would greatly appreciate it. Memes, thank you for letting me come on and speak my piece.
No, thank you all on the panel for joining me. I definitely learned a lot. Thank you all in the chat there. We actually had a discussion about politics and nobody was getting cussed out. It's an amazing thing, right?
Well, I mean, if if you've got a few seconds, I can accommodate that for you.
Oh, well, Shellback, we love you all.